of Strategic Communications Africa Limited, called Stratcom Africa, a leading total marketing communication agency in Ghana that she founded. She has over 30 years of experience of local and international practice in the communications industry, having received communication training at the University of Ghana, Legon, where she received her Bachelor of Arts and Diploma in Communication qualifications, and Cornell University in the USA, where she received her master's degree. Ms. Cobbah has held executive positions in communications in a variety of organizations, including the Ghana Industrial Holding Corporation, GIHOC. She was one of the pioneers of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and she established the Public Affairs Department of the corporation, which she managed for more than a decade. In this capacity, she drove the promotion and marketing of Ghana's hydrocarbon potential locally and internationally. She was later invited by Chevron and the other sponsors of the West African Gas Pipeline project to establish the External Affairs Department of the project and served as the manager of the department. She led a team made up of personnel in the 4 participating countries, Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana, that managed the governmental and community relations as well as other communications functions that secured support for the project. It was after that assignment that she devoted her full time to growing the private company she founded, Stratcom Africa. Stratcom Africa now has 4 subsidiaries: Word of Mouth, a marketing, advertising, and media buying company; Skill Hive, which is a training, facilitation, and orientation company; and Soft Landing Limited, a corporate liaison company; and Vintage, an events and African corporate gifts company. Esther has also established the Center for Developmental and Intercultural Communication, which is CEDIC, an NGO that seeks to promote and facilitate development through effective communication. Through her leadership, Stratcom Africa has been recognized among the elite's Ghana Club 100 list for 2 consecutive years, 2015 and 2016, and won many other awards such as PR Consultancy of the Year in 2013 and 2014, the United Nations Award for Public Relations and Sustainable Development in 2016, and many others. She herself was named the 2012 Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG Marketing Woman of the Year, as well as the 2013 Institute of Public Relations Ghana Personality of the Year. She continues to be recognized on both local and international platforms, being listed as one of the top women in PR by an international institution, PR News, in New York, and recognized in 2010 by the Entrepreneurs Foundation as Entrepreneur of the Year, Media and Communications, and subsequently as the most outstanding female entrepreneur in public relations at the 2nd Famine Ghana Achievement Award 2016, ordered by the Business Executive. She is an active member of a number of professional bodies, including the International Communication Association and the International Public Relations Association. She is a qualified Gestalt organization development and social development professional. She has several publications to her credit. Thank you very much, Ms. Cobbah, for being with us. I'd like to call you up on stage.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Please take your seats. When I entered this room, I didn't realize that I was entering a jungle. But it's a beautiful jungle where all the animals live together in peace and actually have fun. So much fun that I started telling my colleagues here that I'm not going back. I'm staying here with you. Thank you very much for that introduction. So what have you been doing with yourselves? I can't believe you've been here for 3 days and you're able to mobilize like this. Africa is in trouble. 3 days. I think the older people better behave. Otherwise, they're in trouble. Because if after 3 days you can work in such strong teams, then I'm going to go and talk to my classmates that we need to sit up. Yes, I'm really delighted to be with you this afternoon. Really, really, really delighted. And really delighted also because of all the songs that you sang, what you have adopted. It's a joy to be here. And you are a part of a program that has the potential to impact Africa and Africa's development. That's another reason why I'm so glad to be here. For all the talk of Africa rising, it is only if young people such as yourselves, in fact, young leaders such as yourselves, step up to your calling and to your responsibilities that we can expect to see real change for the better in the lives of our people. So we're looking to you. We hear a lot of talk about Africa rising. We want to see Africa rising with the Africans. And it is only when young leaders like yourselves realize your potential and your responsibility in this phase of Africa's development that Africa rising will be meaningful to Africa. As you were told, I am CEO of Stratcom Africa, a total communication, reputation management, and research company. And what we see all the time is that everybody speaks. So it is assumed that everybody communicates effectively. Everybody speaks. Even those who have challenges speaking have a way of speaking. There's sign language, isn't there? And so people often imagine that there's no need for professional expertise with regard to communication. In fact, I've had a lot of people walk to me and ask me, what exactly do you do? And when I say communication, then they say, communication center. That is Tigo, MTN, and the rest. But clearly, some people are more effective in their speaking, whether as preachers, politicians, corporate CEOs, military generals, traditional authorities, or leaders in any other contact. You go to church, one preacher is preaching, hallelujah, praise God. Another preacher is preaching, and everybody is, the devil steals their mind away because they do not make an impact. Another person is preaching, you hear, preach on. Another person is preaching, when will they close so that we go? What the communication discipline seeks to do is to develop a deeper appreciation of what makes communication effective and how companies, nations, institutions, as well as individuals can put across the messages they have effectively in order to achieve their objectives. You may have a message. The way you put it across is important. And that is what the communication discipline helps you to do. So yes, everybody speaks. Everybody can communicate. However, communicating for effect, communicating for impact is what the communication discipline seeks to do. And this afternoon, as leaders, we're going to examine some of the factors that can help you to be effective when you are out there speaking to the public. Do you want that? Yes. Hey. But I want to say a little about leadership. understanding what the different kinds of leaders I referred to earlier, like preachers, politicians, CEOs, chiefs, etc., do effectively in communicating with their target audience and helping them to achieve this is what communications professionals try to do. That also involves understanding what leadership means and what leadership requires. For us to be able to help leaders to communicate it effectively, it means we have to understand what leadership means and what leadership requires. And I think that's one of the reasons why you are here. Leadership is in relation to people, whether in a family context, community, church, or nation, or even internationally. The ability to communicate effectively with the public that you lead is critical. How can you lead people if you cannot communicate with them? So leadership is about effective communication. Do you agree with me? Oh, good. I'm happy you agree with me, because then you see the relevance of communication. Because I've dealt with a lot of leaders who feel that being a leader means that they are recognized by the people who follow them, and therefore effective communication is really not important because the people believe in them anyway. The people see them as leaders. What is the point in even communicating with them? Because the people put them there as leaders. But I want to tell you that leadership is really about people. Maybe you know that even better than I do. And because leadership is about people, the needs and aspirations of the people must be of concern to whoever seeks to lead. Your ticket to leadership is your ability to appreciate the needs and concerns of the people that you're leading. Do you understand me? You have no business leading if you don't understand the needs and concerns of those people that you claim you're leading. And that is why, for me, the power of leadership emanates from a commitment to serve people. The power to lead is a commitment to serve. Am I making sense? To be able to lead, you have to serve. Otherwise, you do not have a following. The power of leadership also emanates from an appreciation of the context in which the people you lead exists. Do you understand me? To be able to lead a people, you have to appreciate their context, the reality of their lives. That is why leadership requires constant communication with the public, what will be called the followership. So let's look at the public context. There are different contexts in which human beings interact with each other and relate to their environment in order to satisfy their different needs and aspirations. Effectiveness of any human interaction depends on how the interaction responds to those needs and aspirations. In public speaking, therefore, we must be conveying something that resonates with the public that we are speaking to. So when you go to speak with the public, and if what you are saying, what you are talking about, does not resonate with the people, you're not speaking to any public. You're not doing public speaking. You're doing self-speaking. Am I making sense? It is only when what you are saying resonates with the people that you're talking to that you are doing public speaking. The fact that you're standing out talking to a group of people does not mean that you're doing public speaking. It is only when you're making meaning to them, you're connecting with their need, you're connecting, resonating with their mind, that speaking, communication is actually happening. So, we do not just speak. Even in one-on-one conversations, there are responsibilities to the other. The hearer has a responsibility, and the speaker has a responsibility. I see that you're nodding. Tell me why you're nodding. Why are you agreeing with me? What's your name? Alvin, why are you agreeing with me that when we interact with people, we have a responsibility to each other? Can you share with me? Is there a mic that she can have?
I started nodding my head when you said the listener has a responsibility, because we people generally tend to want to talk more and listen less, forgetting that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth to actually listen more and talk less. So I think both of them have a responsibility, because the person listening has a responsibility to open his ear, not only his ear, his mind, his heart, and his soul, to get to merge with the person talking to him, to understand what he's trying to say, and then digest it. The person talking has the responsibility to be clear in what he says and to effectively say or communicate what he's trying to, the message he's trying to pass across.
Thank you. Apart from being good, you're not bad at all. So even with individuals, there's nothing more painful than talking to an individual and you don't have the person's attention. But I'm telling you that you get the person's attention when what you are saying is of value to them. And so before you speak to them, you need to check them out and find out what is important for them, what is of value to them. So can you imagine that you're speaking to an individual and you need to understand the individual's mind and understand what is of importance to them, so that when you speak, they will open their hearts and minds and listen to you. That's an individual. Can you imagine a politician speaking to a whole country? You have different people, tall, short, rural, urban, of all ages, different needs. Some want accommodation, some want jobs. If you're in Africa, everybody wants jobs. What? Some want food, some want classrooms, some have their areas flooding all the time. You're talking to all these different people. And if you go and stand out there and talk without an appreciation of the needs on their hearts and minds, you are not talking to them. Am I making sense? Have you found yourself in a situation where you were talking to somebody and you were actually talking to yourself? Have you seen that happen before? Boss, you're saying yes, yes, yes. Please tell me. Give me an example.
Yes, I was nodding my head because I was teacher before. I taught for 5 years. So when I was teacher, sometimes when I'm giving some basics knowledge, people are not taking, because they are nothing deal to with us with this. So I feel it.
So you see that leaders have an even weightier responsibility. It is even heavier when people look up to you. When they look up to you, they expect that you understand their need and you will speak to their need. Am I making sense to you? So as a leader, when you go to speak to the public, you're not just telling them your vision. Your vision should emanate from their need. But a lot of leaders talk what they want, right? So you have a very weighty responsibility to ensure that you understand what the other needs. There is therefore the need for leaders to assess the need of the public they serve, appreciate this need, including the communication need of the public. And that is why every leader has, every president has ministers, has people in parliament, has district chief executives, etc., etc. It is important that these people draw information and bring it to the leader to be able to use that to formulate policies that he declares in public fora for people to understand. So when a leader speaks, people should feel that what he is saying is for them, from them, and with them. Am I making sense? Okay. Because a lot of leaders, as I say, pontificate. They talk plenty, but people go away and they haven't heard anything. I call that feed forward. You see, people say feedback. I call that feed forward. Before you speak, you have to check. And when you have assessed the needs and aspirations and expectations of the people, that informs the formulation of your message. That informs how you couch your message. So, in fact, a message, a good message, does not come from the individual that is relaying the message. It comes from the mind of the person he's speaking to. Do you understand me? This is communication arithmetic. To be able to give a message that makes sense, you should go to the mind of the other person and collect data and use that to formulate your message. It is like somebody going to the hospital. If the doctor just got up and gave them paracetamol or chloroquine and all that, they could easily misfire. They have to go into the person's blood. They have to go into the person's lungs. They probably have to do a CT scan. They have to gather information from that individual's being to diagnose and be able to give medication that works effectively on the person. So messages are not just developed. Messages are developed based on a diagnosis of the needs, expectations, hopes, aspirations of the other. Do you understand me? So you'll see that somebody speaks and you go, wow, that person is speaking to me. That person has done their homework. Am I speaking to you? Am I resonating with you? Because I cheated. I found out who you were before coming. You understand me? That is who a leader is. Because a leader should know the lead. And when you do that, and knowing them means that you will be able to say things that resonate with them all the time. So as I said, after you have assessed the situation, assessed your context, assessed the people, the information you obtain becomes what you use, what informs the message that you put out. So you see that the message is not just verbal. It is made up of the words that are uttered and the person who utters them. It's not only, so you see, before I came and spoke, you saw that Sefa took some long history and read about me. That begins to make you feel like, oh, okay, we can listen to her because she's a communication specialist. She has over 30 years. You understand me? So it's not only about what I am saying. It is the totality of what you hear about me, what you see of me, and what you feel about me. So a message is not just words. And formulating your message depends on how you understand the other. Over the weekend, I had to go to a school to speak. The night before that, I was hanging out with my young colleagues, and I told them I was going to speak. And we got into discussion about what I would wear and all that, and they realized that I was going to wear a suit. They stopped me immediately and said, you can't go with that. They made me wear a pair of tight pants and a top, looking very casual. I came and thanked them profusely because I would have been seen as a very distant person. Because when I went, everybody was in jeans and T-shirt. Can you imagine if I was in a suit? That would have distracted my message. So your message is not only verbal, it is everything that comes with it. A dramatic instance of a corporate executive failing to assess the communication need of the public in relation to a disaster in the oil industry some years ago was the chief executive of BP. Did you hear about BP and what happened? Tony Hayward. He was reported as saying that he wanted his life back and participating in minor social events at a time when lives had been lost in the offshore Mocando oil field in the Gulf of Mexico. His words seemed deeply insensitive. In addition to deaths on the rig, the livelihoods of thousands of fishermen had been destroyed, and images of environmental damage were being projected all around the world. This man was heard saying, when will I have my life back? He wanted to be with his family, take some time out. And people felt that was so insensitive. So his words in a public context did not only cost him his job, but also contributed to the wiping out of a lot of the share value of BP. So the wrong words uttered in a context that you have not appreciated can really cost you a lot. For Tony Hayward, it cost him his job, and it costs BP a lot of money. So it means that as a leader, you have to consider self and the context in which you find yourself. For the past 3 days you've been interacting. Can you tell me whether the contexts in which you all find yourselves are the same? How many have found that something that is done in Ghana is different from something that's done in Nigeria or Gambia or Cote d'Ivoire. Have you found any differences? Madam, I see you're nodding. Tell me, what difference have you seen?
Right, oh, sorry, I jumped the line, right? So we're on different pages. Like, he felt I should be the one apologizing to him, right? Me, I felt he should be the one apologizing to us. So that was the case, yeah.
So different cultural approaches to dealing with situations. Yes, Mom? Mm-hmm. Food. She loves food. Cover your food when she's coming.
So I noticed that Ghanaian, the food we're eating contains a lot of onions. And I see onion in virtually almost all the food we have every day. And I just made a comment to someone this afternoon that Ghanaians cook with a lot of onions. And it was a Ghanaian, she admitted.
We love onions so much so that we even import onions to eat.
I also noticed that in Ghana we take okra soup with banku. But one of the Sierra Leoneans was telling me they take okra with rice.
Huh? There's somebody here too. Ooh, how does the rice swim in the okra stew?
Thank you, madam. It was yesterday in the restaurant. I saw a delegate. She was sitting down. And then in our Francophone culture, when we meet, we kind of hug ourselves. And then kiss. When I came over, she stayed stiff. And then she was wondering what I was doing. And she told me, I don't know what you're doing. We don't do this in Ghana. So I was like, wow. And then I was with my friend from Africa. I said, here it's like people don't kiss each other. So we shouldn't. Yeah. So that's what I found out. Thank you.
Yes.
So you see that we all come from. You want to say something? She really wants to talk. Go ahead.
My name is Eva. I also spoke with some of my friends, and I realized that the language, the words that we use in Ghana, may be peculiar to other countries, but then the meaning is different. For example, I learned a word in Sierra Leone language. They have different languages. I don't remember which one, but I know of sake. But in Ghana here, when you say sake, in the Ghanaian context, in the Ghana language, it means mad. Yeah.
Yes. So we see that we are all in Africa, but we are living in different contexts. So a leader has to be sensitive to these contexts. But you have to start with self. It is important for the leader to assess his or her own capability to deliver messages to the public. A self-critical spirit is needed rather than a complacent spirit. You see, if you are self-critical, if you are not complacent, you will check the other's mind before you speak to them. Do you understand me? Yeah. So a self-critical, each leader has to examine himself or her own self. It is better to know your limitation and work out what it takes to overcome it. Any leader who does not confront their own limitation takes it out as part of his public speaking skills. Do you understand? You have to examine your own self and know your limitations so that when you're going out there to speak, you appreciate that you have such and such limitation and seek help to work on it. So I'll give you an example of someone who became a renowned leader and remains so to this day. This person, some of you may recognize him, when he was called upon to lead his people, his name is Moses. He protested vigorously. He says, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? This is a man that had been asked in the story of the Israelites, had been asked by God to lead his people to the promised land. He said, no, I can't do it. What if they do not believe me? He obviously appreciated that he had not had much interaction with his own people. He must have realized that his upbringing actually made him more familiar with the ways of the Egyptian court than of his own people, the Israelites. You remember, those of you who have read the story, that Moses, though he was an Israelite, had been raised up in the Egyptian court because there was an Egyptian princess that found him floating on the river Nile because his mother had strategically put him on the river Nile when Pharaoh decided that he was going to kill male children. So he was Israelite, but he had grown in an Egyptian environment. So he recognized his limitation. He says, no, I can't go. I can't lead those people. They won't even believe me. As a leader, you have to, when you are communicating, you're communicating not only in words, you're communicating with the totality of who you are. So he knew that if he went to the Israelites and said, God says I should come and lead you, they'll say, but you, who are you? Aren't you Egyptian? You are an Israelite, but you didn't grow up with us. He knew that they would process his message through that perception. How many times haven't we seen people and said, they're not friendly? Why? Because your expectation is that a friendly person would stretch their hand and greet you. Maybe the person is just shy. But he recognized his limitation. A lot of leaders find it difficult to recognize their limitations. And therefore they take their limitation into the public space as part of their public speaking. Moses also goes on to argue further with God and cites some limitations he says he has. When you look at Exodus 4:10, this is from the Bible, but for me, the Bible is also a textbook. Try it and see. You don't have to believe it, read it. You'll see that you'll get a few lessons from there. Exodus 4:10 says, then Moses said to the Lord, "O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." Oh, no. I can't speak. I stammer. He was a stammerer who could hardly hold the attention of the listeners because of this. This shows humility displayed in the description of himself. You are being called as a leader. Today, you guys have been selected out of all the how many million young people in Africa? How many million young people? If you don't have this answer, you will go home. Only 5,000. That is your homework. send me email tomorrow with a population of African youth. Out of all the youth in Africa, out of all the 5,000 people who applied, you have been selected. If you don't take care, you immediately begin to think, I am it. I am it. But no, Moses didn't do that. He immediately began to check himself. He assessed himself. So you see, he assessed himself against the context. So you see, the first thing I asked you to do was to assess the other and the context. He assessed himself and he says, no, I can't go to these people and speak to them. That is the mark of a good leader. Otherwise, you take with you your limitations into the public speaking space. Understood? And that is the mark of humility. A leader needs that. And after he has displayed this humility, his creator asks him, who gave man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. Through the interaction with God, Moses, no doubt, was reminded of some critical capabilities that he was endowed with, which would help him with the assignment to lead his people out of Egypt into freedom. Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? He answers, a staff, he replied. He was a shepherd who knew how to communicate even with sheep. The staff was what he had led the sheep with for some time as a shepherd. The question, what is that in your hand, must have reminded Moses of all this. Thus, a leader's self-examination should include feedback from others, including one's creator. So when you are examining yourself, you see, when he said, I can't do it, the other, his creator, told him, have you forgotten you have a mouth? Have you forgotten you have a tongue? Have you forgotten you have a staff in your hand? So as a leader, when in humility you identify some of the things that should not come with you to the public space, or even when it comes into the public space should be managed, you also need to get somebody to be your mirror. There's nothing as painful as going out of your home and you think you've dressed up very well, and you get out there and somebody tells you, oh, you see somebody, in Ghana we are very polite. Oh, madam, madam, can I close your zip for you? Can I, your collar, it has charred. Your collar is crooked. If you allow somebody you trust to help you as a leader. So as a leader, you have to recognize that you are not all perfect, all knowing. And it is with humility that you yourself identify some of your shortcomings and ask others to also help you. So in my work as a communication specialist, I have helped leaders at national, corporate, community, and even family levels to recognize their capabilities in public speaking. by heightening their awareness about certain innate skills that they have and which they have not been conscious of. In the case of Moses, it was his creator whose words drew his attention to the tool at his disposal. What is it you have in your hand? And I want you all to be thinking about it. What is it that I bring into this program? What is this that I bring into this space? What is in my hand? What is in my hand? Keep thinking about it throughout this cohort. Think about it. What is it in your hand that you are taking for granted? But take the staff in your hand so you can perform miraculous signs with it. God also gave him the assurance that his capabilities would be reinforced through help from others. Aaron was to be his spokesperson. When Moses said he can't speak, God said, Aaron will be your spokesperson. Do you need a spokesperson? Let's see. You may or may not need a spokesperson. In the end, when you read subsequent chapters, so I'm giving you assignment, go and read Exodus chapter 4. When you read subsequent chapters, you realize that Moses, most of the time, spoke to the people himself without needing the help. How many times do we see Aaron speaking for Moses? If you read the Bible, you see that doesn't happen a lot. So what happened in the process was that his confidence was built. You see, by coming to terms with your weakness, you manage that so that your strength will show. I was training a chief executive who didn't want to have anything to do with the media. She didn't want to speak with the media. So one day I asked her, but you are the chief executive and everybody respects you. You know this business very well. She said, yes. Every question you ask her, she would answer. So I said, who is the expert? Is it the journalist that is coming to interview you who is the expert, or you are? Now she does interviews without my help. It took me to heighten her awareness of her capabilities. As a leader, not only should you yourself assess your capabilities and identify whatever limitation you may have, allow others close to you who wish you well to help you. Sometimes even those who don't wish you well help you to be on your guard. Take everything in your stride. So, what we do is to help people to be able to become better spokespersons. So, I have seen a lot of leaders, as I said, who are terrified of public speaking, and they gradually grow in the art because they allow themselves to be taken through the science of public speaking. I hear a lot of people talk about the art of public speaking. Without the science, the art can let you down. And the science is the discipline of understanding the context, understanding the people you're going to speak to, understanding yourself. Am I making sense? Are you getting the steps? This is really important for me because, you know, we all speak. And therefore, it's very easy for everybody to think they speak. Some people are very eloquent and they are confident. You put them in front of any crowd, they will speak. But then they speak too much just because they are confident. So that in itself is a limitation. So you have to understand the context. You have to understand the people, their needs and expectations. You use that to assess yourself. Then you allow somebody also to assess you. However, you do not allow it to paralyze you. You rise above the challenges. But by doing that also, you do demonstrate humility, which is a key ingredient of leadership. Through God's answer when he protests, Moses would have gained some confidence in his leadership capabilities, using what was in his hand. Thus, the staff was to be a weapon of communication for Moses with the people. What you think is nothing, what you think you do not have, can be something that becomes your staff of communication, your weapon of communication. In my public speaking sessions, self is always an important component of the message. And we work with our clients to draw on what I call the toolkit, your individual toolkit. Everybody was created with a toolkit. You have this or you don't have that. You have that or you don't. And when you're going to fix a tap, you take a tool that works for that tap. When you're going to fix a bed, you take a tool that works for. So that's through the self-examination, you are able to identify your personal toolkit for communication. And that is what we as communication professionals do. We help leaders to identify their personal toolkit to take with them when they are going into the public speaking space. So the question that God asked Moses, what is in your hand, was to be a moment of self-discovery about the leadership potential that he had overlooked. Each of us has to heighten our awareness about the communication toolkit we bring into our leadership role. It is also significant that Moses was being called to a clear assignment, going to demand from Pharaoh, let my people go. You have been called to a clear assignment, my dear young people. Let Africa rise. Your assignment is very clear. You have been called to help Africa to develop. And Moses, he had been uniquely prepared for that assignment by his upbringing from infancy in the court of Pharaoh through, though an Israelite. At that critical time in his life, confronted with the challenge to take up leadership, Moses, in humility, felt inadequate. The preparation that he had undergone seemed lost on him until his eyes were opened in the conversation with his Maker. As his eyes were opened, even his professed lack of public speaking skills became insignificant. Sometimes it takes communication professionals to help draw out a leader's innate potential, and that should not be taken for granted. Just as you go to a doctor to fix you, go to a communication professional to help you to be effective out there. Let's be clear. Though it is not public speaking in itself that makes a lead, let's be clear. It is not public speaking in itself that makes a leader. As you will be learning, there are so many things that contribute to being an effective leader. The totality of who one is provides the frame for the expression of one's leadership. The humility that Moses showed, the sense of human inadequacy in the face of a daunting assignment of leading people are all hallmarks of true leadership. If a leader does not recognize his humanity, he cannot lead human beings. A leader that does not recognize his humanity cannot lead human beings. A leader that is not humble enough to recognize his or her own weakness cannot recognize the weakness in others and work with them to develop. And these are things that can come out when you go out to speak. It's not just about speaking. As we each speak to others, our message is not just in words. It is not just the words that we utter. It is the totality of our expression and of our every being. If there is no consistency between one's utterances and what is publicly known about you, the words you utter can ring hollow. Their meaning as words is undermined by your very being. Some politicians sometimes find this out painfully, and so have some religious leaders. Do we know of some? They are saying, they are pontificating, but we don't believe them. And they lose, and they don't understand why they lost. It's because their actions spoke louder than their words. It is the totality of a person that communicates, not just the words. The frame of mind of the people you are engaging, their background, their assumptions, will provide the filter through which your message will be interpreted. Ladies and gentlemen, meanings are in people. As I stand here, the meaning of who I am is in you. Gentlemen, what do you think of me? If you were asked to say one thing about me, what would you say? I look good. Look at him. I'm standing here talking about leadership. It's my master in pink shirt. What would you say? Eloquent. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. I'm getting all of you. I pay attention to me. I say that my God is a very jealous God, so I'm also very jealous. When I'm speaking, everybody has to listen. Yes. Hey. This place is big, oh. Thank you. Yes, sir. I'm bold and resourceful. Thank you. Yes. I look very serious. Yes. I love what I'm doing. You're so right. Yes. I'm what?
You give us inspiration.
Inspiration. Thank you. I'm a Christian. I'm a good communicator. I'm what?
You are gathered, a full package on its own.
I'm total package. Hey, we won't finish. We'll take 3 more. Yes.
Okay, I can see that you're speaking with passion.
I'm speaking with passion. Yes.
I can see that you are very learned in what you are teaching us.
Thank you. Last one. Today I've got big posts.
You use your job in public speaking to preach the word of God.
I use my job in public speaking. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. To preach the word of God. You blew my cover. But you see that different people have spoken, and each of them has interpreted me in their own way. The meaning of who I am as I stand today is in you. Do you understand me? The meaning of me is in you, because I have not come from where you come from. I do not know the experiences that you have. I do not know the expectations that you have. When I speak, when I engage you, you filter what I am doing through the reality of your existence. And that is what leaders fail to see. That when they stand to talk to populations of 1 million, of thousands, they are being filtered through the realities of the minds, of the experiences, of the needs, expectations, and aspirations of each of these people. Do you understand me? So as you grow into your leadership roles, remember to engage, to connect with these realities. Because when you do that, then you're able to deliver messages that resonate with them. But you don't only deliver the messages, you act on the messages. Because if you deliver the messages and act differently, they will see. It is the totality of an honest leader that communicates an honest message. So as you engage people, ladies and gentlemen, note that your presence is part of what you communicate, which is why we talk about body language. But be careful. Hands and arms, fingers, even legs can get in the way of effective public speaking. Gestures and body movements can be effective, especially when appropriate and not overdone. Let me illustrate to you how speech and body can be well synchronized to powerful effect in public speaking. I'd like you to look at your favorite man.
National security and the deficit. Real, achievable plans that will lead to new jobs, more opportunity, and to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. We've reasserted our power across the Pacific and stood up to China on behalf of our down in Tampa at the Republican convention. We're more than happy to talk about everything they think is wrong with America. Al-Qaeda is on the path to defeat, and Osama bin Laden is dead. Our problems can be solved. Our challenges can be. We have been there. We've tried that, and we're not going back. Millions of innocent Americans lost their jobs, their homes, their life savings. I've cut taxes for those who need it. Middle-class families. Some of the worst schools in the country have made real gains in math and reading.
Look at the faces of the people listening to him. It's not working. It's okay. I just wanted to give you a free movie, but because you didn't pay, it's not showing. Kwame, how long is it? Okay. No, but I asked the question.
education, not to fudge the numbers or shade the truth about why they're going, to care for their families while they're gone, to tend to the soldiers upon their return, and to never, ever go to war without enough troops to win the war, secure the peace, and earn the respect of the world.
So you'll see that I know you wanted to watch, you'll pay. So I just wanted to, you see his hands. I want you to know
national
that.
security and the deficit. Real, achievable plans that will lead to new jobs, more opportunity, to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. We've reasserted our power across the Pacific and stood up to China on behalf of our in Tampa at the Republican convention. We're more than happy to talk about everything they think is wrong with America.
What do you see about the use of his hand?
Al-Qaeda is on the path to defeat, and Osama bin Laden.
Go ahead. Yeah, is it the last one?
We have been there. We've tried that, and we're not going back.
Yes, sir.
We can see that
Millions of innocent Americans lost their jobs, their homes, their life saving. I've cut taxes for those who need it. Middle-class families. Some of the worst schools in the country have made real gains in math and reading.
Yes, sir.
So we say that he's hammering home, the point home, with his fingers. Mm-hmm. When he's talking about something, he hammers home with his fingers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how does that relate to his speech? Uh-huh.
It's synchronized.
It's synchronized.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes, Mom.
And where he wants to lay emphasis, you see how he uses his hands to make that gesture.
Thank you.
And normally, when we do this, it's like you are showing something that is just between life and death. So he's making emphasis on how very important and critical what he is saying is. That's why he does that.
But sometimes we see, and we will, this situation in this country, you see what I mean? So, yeah, all over the place. So, the use of your hands, I mean, we can't do all that here. I'm just peeling the surface of different aspects of public speaking for you. But, yes, Mom.
Even the zigzag way of the intonation. It will speak normal, sending a message, but when you want to stress on a point, you see it rising.
Thank you. You people, teaching you will not be difficult at all. But you realize that Obama was the first African American president of the United States of America, and in a time when a lot was expected from a president in addressing many socio-economic challenges of the country. Therefore, effectiveness in communication was critical to any kind of credibility that he could have, especially when there were some Americans who even doubted his citizenship. So, what he said, his presence, his actions, all had to come together to make him credible and acceptable. And he could only have done this by assessing his context. Let's watch just another person, since you're in Ghana and it's our 60th anniversary.
At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Now I want you all, those who have hats on, to take off your hats and let the band play our national anthem. And from now on, that national anthem is the national anthem of the Go-Go to be played on all occasions.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with Kwame Nkrumah, this was the context. Galvanizing and leading a mass movement in a British colony to attain national independence required a message that resonated and a manner of delivery that was authoritative. In both cases, their words, their gestures, and body movements all came together to make a powerful impact on the minds and hearts of the audiences that they spoke to. Inevitably also, an element through which their words were filtered was knowledge of their audience, of their background, where they were coming from to stand before those audiences at the material time. Isn't this the carpenter's son? Was the question posed by some as people heard Jesus speaking with such authority, delivering his message powerfully, wisely, and even performing amazing miracles. They questioned how someone from his background could be a leader despite the evidence that was staring them in the face about his greatness, his relevance to their deepest need. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Was the further question, expressing doubt simply on account of prejudice about his hometown. I hope we can all identify with that reality of prejudice and skepticism that even Jesus was faced with. You are striving to be leaders. People will ask, aren't you so-and-so's daughter? And your wardrobe also communicates with your message. There's no doubt that what you wear can enhance or get in the way of the attention that your message gets from your audience. That is why leaders often have to be advised on what to wear for different public appearances. That's also work that we do. You can have a situation in which, after a leader has spoken in public, the main thing that everybody ends up talking about is the leader's outfit, whilst the message delivered is completely lost because the outfit was not appropriate. Your mode of delivery, how a leader actually delivers his or her speech to the public, affects the impact. The bearing of the leader, the confidence that he or she exudes, and the emotional expression all contribute to the effectiveness of the message. Feedback is important. Communication, there isn't time. Otherwise, I would have done a test on you. Communication is not sharing information. It's not just giving information. It's a sharing of information for mutual understanding. So feedback is important. You remember you assessed the environment and put a message in. Now you have to check whether the message has worked. So a critical component of communication is feedback, which helps to determine the effectiveness of one's message, especially when delivered to a public audience. This can be done through opinion polls. For example, in a place like America, after any major speech by the president, opinion polls are run, which help to determine public reaction to the message. Where necessary, remedial measures are taken based on the feedback. We see a great leader like Jesus Christ, indeed the Son of God, Jesus the Christ, at a certain time in his mission work, asking his disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" And we see that as a result of the expectation of the Jews for the return of certain prophets, the feedback they give is informed by that. Christ asked the further question to his own disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" So that he could ensure that they could become effective channels of communication of his message. In that way, he prepares them to be the carriers of the gospel. What a great communication strategy to learn from. Leaders need to recognize that there are other communication outlets that can complement their public speaking efforts. These include other trained spokespersons that could reinforce the messages of the leader. There can also be other means of communication, such as features and other communication materials that are used to drive home the leader's message. There's therefore the need to fit a leader's public message into a comprehensive communication strategy. An interesting example of a leader's public communication was when Chilean miners trapped in an underground mine where media trained before their rescue brought them from the underground mine where they had been trapped before they were brought to the surface. This was to ensure that what they said would be consistent with public statements of the Chilean leader who had been at the forefront of the communication around the incident. A leader's composure in public speaking is also critical. Leaders need to deal with nervousness, be emotionally stable, and come across as engaging. To summarize, I just ask you to note the following. I've summed everything up for you. Meanings are in people. Understand your audience. Because meanings are in people, you have to understand your audience. Know yourself and your context. Let your message resonate. Build your message on information from and about your audience. Engage your audience and deliver with conviction. Comport yourself appropriately. Draw out feedback. And then have a wider strategy beyond the particular speaking engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I'd say you have come to Ghana as we have been celebrating the 60th anniversary of our independence. You are entitled to ask us Ghanaians, what have we made of the leadership roles that we had in respect of independence in the African continent? Our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, had said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of the whole of Africa. We ask, is this independence of Ghana now meaningful with Africa's total independence, liberation? Is independence in other African countries now meaningful in the midst of all that confronts our various countries? Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with a question. How will your communication as upcoming African leaders help shape the future of Africa? I wish you a successful program, and I hope you will address some of the questions I have posed. I look forward to my session with you later this month. I have absolutely enjoyed being here. The welcome was great. It was energetic. And thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much.
Please, because of time, we are just going to take 2 questions each from each of the animal groups.
Thank you, Madam Esther Cobbah. Please, my question is, I think, in 2 folds. When you were talking, You talked about the perception of people about leaders. Sometimes you don't know, but then, just like you said, people will just form perception about you. And then as we grow through leadership, we are made aware that you don't always have to listen to what people talk about you. So at what point, as a leader, do you not allow the perception of what people think about you to really affect you? Because probably you have identified your limitations and you are working on it, but that person somewhere doesn't know that you are working on your limitations. And then they will have that opinion about you. So at what point do you not let those opinions of others affect you, what you do? I think I'll end with that.
I like the fact that you said you are working on it and the people don't know, right? Sometimes a leader emerges from what people perceive of them, and that makes them even a stronger leader. You understand me? So when people think that you can't do this, you can't do that. I know of a leader who couldn't speak very well, but he put himself through the training. And then later on, when he started speaking with a lot of energy, he became very good. People, respect for him even grew. So you should be conscious of what people are saying, but you should not allow that to put you down at all. The fact that you are conscious of it does not mean that you allow it to put you down. And so never, as a leader or a potential leader, look at only your limitations. You see, you're humble enough to recognize your limitations, but you're strong enough to rise above your limitations. In fact, sometimes you use your limitation as a foundation to soar. You understand me? And that is why I say that you may need somebody else to help you. So let's take Moses. People felt that he didn't know anything. Then he comes with a staff. The Egyptians are coming. Then he shows the staff to the water and it parts. And they are thirsty and he hits the rock. And wow, this Moses, you understand me? Out of what people think is nothing, you make something. Soar based on what you find your limitations are. Don't let them put you down.
Okay. In communication, it is not always that you would have to sound right. Sometimes there has to be a propaganda. There has to be a propaganda. And with our political parties, it does happen. And it might not be right, but per the objective of the organization, we have to win. And if I'm a PR, I'm expected to do that propaganda well. What I want to ask is, how do you win with propaganda?
You don't win with propaganda. You may win now, you will lose later.
Okay.
And this is a question that I get all the time. I've even been asked, would you lie for an organization? No, I will not. I will teach the organization how to accept the truth and share with people how you're going to work. You earn more respect when you do that. And you know, spin doctors, when you spin, you get dizzy, you fall. So be honest. You know, when people have accepted, I erred, and this is what I'm going to do to address it, they earn more respect. Haven't you seen that? Yeah. When you do propaganda, eventually the truth comes out and you lose. So you heard me. I said many a politician have learned this truth painfully. And you know what? I don't know what you believe, But I believe that one day I will give account of everything I did here. And no human being is worth my denying my eternal life for. No organization, there's nothing so sweet on this earth that I should lie. No, you will be found out. So as communicators, so that's how we teach you how to, you see, there could be a situation, we will show you how to talk about the negative situation in a manner that brings hope without lying. I wouldn't be in this profession if it was a lying profession. It's a sweet, honest profession which teaches you how to use facts to engage and relate to people. So that was the elephants. Eagles. Yes. I'll never forget these animals.
That was a great delivery you did, and I like how observant you were as well. Permit that I ask you maybe somewhat controversial questions. So you said it's not in all cases that if you become perfect in effective communication, you don't need spokesperson. But is it not situational? Maybe I may be quoting you wrong, but maybe you ask somebody you want to speak directly, it carries more weight. But then later it's going to create problems. So sometimes if a spokesperson speaks for you and it creates problems, as a leader you can come back and say, no, that's not what I meant. But if you speak directly, you can't go back and clean what you said.
So you heard me say that a leader's public speaking should be part of a strategy, a holistic strategy. So the fact that somebody speaks for you, they are speaking for the leader. Do you understand me? But you have to have a strategy. It's not all the time that the leader himself should speak or herself should speak. So yes, you're right. In some cases, the leader comes and makes a very high-level policy-oriented statement and other people speak. Or the leader does not speak at all. Other people speak, and if it becomes necessary, then the leader comes out to speak. I didn't tell you everything about my organization. That video clip did in 60 seconds. I spoke through the video. So there are different approaches for leaders to speak. So I did not actually say that the leader should be the one to speak all the time. On the contrary, you train spokespersons who sometimes speak for you. And sometimes it's done through features, articles, events, a video clip. Yeah. This is all for eagles. She begs. I beg.
When I took the mic, I said, permit me to ask you two controversial questions.
Okay, yeah. So controversial one is gone.
Yes, the second one has to do with a current issue we face. I have cold, so yes. When you invite her to speak with other audience, and perhaps there's somebody who is more elderly in terms of authority, you as a co-speaker, if you invite her to speak with other people and there's somebody who is more superior to you, do you mind your way of dressing? I'm speaking in context to the current situation we have. When we celebrated our 60 years anniversary, when you watch Instagram, most of the social media, little was said about the president's speech. All focus was on the vice president's wife's dressing. And currently, when he even did the 3rd March inauguration, when he was being sworn into office, little was said about the president's speech. The focus was on her dressing. So a president who is sitting and then a vice president's wife, much attention should have gone to the president, in my opinion. What do you think?
That's your opinion. That is your opinion. This is, for me, is it negative? No. They are happy. People are happy with the way the person dressed. How does the organization or the entity use it to advantage? Do you understand me? I don't see the big deal because it's positive. They like what she wore. Is somebody crying about that? No. So they should use it to advantage. Do you understand me? Yeah. I do not see that it's an issue because nobody has come to say, don't talk so much about somebody's outfit. It's positive. They should use it to advantage. Thank you.
From Ivory Coast. My question is, you did a great presentation.
Thank you.
But I just want, if you can refer 2 books for us to improve our skill, because you were talking about the toolkit to be effective communication.
Yes.
If you can refer 2 books for us. So
2 books.
Thank you.
I'll go and check and come back. You are the book. I will go and check and come back. When I talk about the toolkit, I'm talking about your personal toolkit. If I speak to the 2 of you and I ask you, what strength do you think you have in relation to speaking in public? You are bold. You are outspoken. What do you think is not so? What do you need to work on?
Well, the weakness I need to work on is I act too much on stage, trying to pass the message. You do too much of movement, too much of handing, and I got that yesterday from a feedback that you can be powerful, but you can work on this. And so when I went into my room, I digest that, and today I worked on it. It was.
Thank you. So she's bold, and she realizes that she is overexpressive before people. Can you imagine a bold person who's overexpressive too? Charlie, you will not even hear what she says. So she has all that in her toolkit, and her awareness has been heightened. So what I want you to do throughout your stay is to pair up, or in your animal groups, share with each other what you think you have in your toolkit, and refer to the summary I gave you, and go back to it and use that. And by the time you're done, you would have written a book, which we will all buy. So we finished with the eagles.
Good evening.
Lions. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Isaac Jabang from the Gambia. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I've really learned a lot. I have just one question. And it's a scenario. You indicated that to communicate effectively with your audience, you need to resonate with them. In a scenario where, for example, the head of the anti-corruption committee is called to talk to the members of parliament, and his address is mainly to address the issues of corruption in Africa. And part of his content is going to affect almost 95% of those who are in the audience. How do you effectively communicate to those people, knowing that you may not deliberately resonate with them? Thank you.
I have to use an example to... So let me take a group of rural dwellers who have certain customary practices that they are very much attached to. And then here comes a group of child rights advocates who tell them they have to change this, they have to change that. And my advice to them is, don't tell them to change that. Go to why they do it. So we enact a child naming ceremony. We call it outdooring ceremony. And in the outdooring ceremony, the parents are there, the community is there, the child is brought gifts. Then the parents are told, make sure you teach the child something, a trade and all that. What does this mean? A child has a right to family. A child has a right to community. A child has a right to education. A child has a right to property. Is it the Convention on the Rights of the Child that came to say this? Or was it the tradition that said it. You have to go from what they believe. You don't go directly to condemn what you disagree with. You go to what they believe, accept and understand it, and then help to migrate from it. Reason with them. Don't condemn. And so Africa's development has delayed because a lot of development programs condemn what we do and not try to understand why we used to do it long ago, but now we are changing. Understood? Have I given you an answer? Thank you very much. Like Jesus, I give parables. Sorry. Last one, Lion.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
My question is, if you go in a society where, as a child, you're not allowed to express yourself. As a child, you just say, keep quiet. There is nothing that can come out of you. And so your confidence since that initial state is being battered. You don't know what to do. And so even when you come in public, you want to speak, you become trembling. You are afraid of people. You're afraid of expressing yourself. Sometimes you have good things, good information to pass, but you can't do it because you don't have the confidence. What can that person do in order for that person to build his or her confidence in public, and for that mentality that keep on haunting the person, that there is nothing good that can come out of you, that you are not able to speak well? What can you do?
In fact, if that person is anything like you, the person is on the road to recovery. The reason is that the person has self-assessed and put the assessment of herself against the context, against what it takes for them to achieve, and recognized that I am timid. And you see, the person is even very lucky that she knows why she is timid. Understood? Let me go back to the Bible again. Moses, when you read Exodus, it says that he was very knowledgeable in the ways of the Egyptians. You know why he was stammering? Because he felt that he didn't know the ways of the Israelites. So you know the reason, right? And you know the context. You have to determine, and if you can't do it all by yourself, get help. Let somebody work with you like God worked with Moses. And later on, Jethro helped Moses to organize. He taught him some management skills to organize things. Let somebody, surround yourself with people who will help you to build your self-esteem. So if the person is, for instance, in this place, me, I wish I had this when I was your age. How old are you? Don't tell them. I wish I had this when I was growing up like you, because this is a space in which I can be who I want to be. You understand me? So you find situations, you find spaces and environment, context in which you can be helped to build your capacity. I always tell women who say we are oppressed and depressed, and I say, let's liberate our minds so we can help the men to liberate their minds. The elephants have spoken, the eagles have flown, the ceiling didn't allow them to go, they are still sitting here. The lions have roared. And we are not afraid, we are still here. Thank you very much. Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. I wish you well. I wish you well. If you have any further questions, give them to your organizers. I'll find a way to answer them. God bless you and be who you want to be.
They'll quickly take a photo with
Yes. I came with some colleagues. These are the people who tell me where to go, I go. They tell me what to do, I do. There's Kwame Babwache. That's my son. There's Miranda. I call her Didi. And there is Rosa. And there is Kofi. That's my son too. I'm a mother of men. Yes. Okay. So they're here. And they helped me to do all this. So kindly give them a clap. Sefa, I want to say thank you so much for coordinating this for me. Shola, you know me too well. You knew I would enjoy this. I am really, really grateful. It has been a privilege. It has been a joy to be with you. And if I had to do it all over again, I'll do it many times. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I call her Auntie Esther because we used to work together. I used to be head of corporate affairs for Barclays Bank, and Stratcom was our PR agency. And so we used to do a lot of work together. Not only that, we used to be in a singing group together. She has a lovely voice. So I want us to give Esther a big round of applause.